Hello, my name's Hilary. Hello, church. Welcome to today's Advent thought and reflection. Behind me, you can see a picture of the Temptation restaurant in Jericho. Des and I were privileged to be there 18 months ago or so. Now, I'm starting today just thinking back to when I was a teenager. I can remember one Saturday afternoon and my dad said to me, would you like to do some driving practice? And I said to him, well, all right. And my dad said, well, do you want to go or don't you? Is it yes or no? Don't say all right. I guess if you happen to be a teenager and listening to this, you just think, what's the problem with that? As I did then when I was 17, 18. But that came back to mind when I read this passage. And just in case you haven't got time to read the passage as well, I'm going to read it briefly to you. Not from that version, from this version. Then Jesus went on into Jericho and was passing through. There was a chief tax collector there named Zacchaeus, who was rich. He was trying to see who Jesus was, but he was a little man and could not see Jesus because of the crowd. So he ran ahead of the crowd and climbed a sycamore tree to see Jesus, who was going to pass that way. And when Jesus came to that place, he looked up and said to Zacchaeus, hurry down, Zacchaeus, because I must stay in your house today. Zacchaeus hurried down and welcomed him with great joy. All the people who saw it started grumbling. This man has gone as a guest to the home of a sinner. Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, listen, sir, I will give half my belongings to the poor. And if I have cheated anyone, I will pay back 4 times as much. Jesus said to him, salvation has come to this house today, for this man also is a descendant of Abraham. The Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. Well, I don't know how tall you are, but I'm quite short. I've always been short. In my year groups at school, I was short. It was a long way up to the netball hoop I was never goal shooter, or I was never goal defence either. I was wing attack. You kind of run around and do lots of going backwards and forwards with the ball, but you don't really go anywhere near the goalpost because you're too short. Maybe you're tall. That's not a problem for you. Maybe you're short as well and can sympathise with me. Or maybe you have some other way in which you feel like you're unnoticed or you're overlooked, or you feel insignificant, or maybe everyone starts grumbling at you or points fingers at you. Well, Zacchaeus could have gone on. He was certainly like that. He was a tax collector. No one liked him. He could have gone on feeling like that, but he wanted to see Jesus. And so we don't know how old he was, but obviously old enough to hold down a job and to have amassed quite a bit of wealth and have his own house. So he ran to get ahead of the crowd and to climb a tree. When Des and I go for walks, sometimes I look at a tree and say, well, that's a nice tree for climbing. But I have to say, in my 60s, I don't actually climb. I just think when the grandchildren come and stay, we must take them there. They'll enjoy that. But Zacchaeus climbed up the tree because he wanted to see Jesus. And it made me think, how much do I want to see Jesus? Am I ready to run? Am I ready to run ahead? But I suspect that Zacchaeus was not expecting Jesus to notice that he was up the tree. And Jesus came along and he looks up into the tree and he says, Zacchaeus, I'm coming to your house today. We don't know what else went on with that conversation. Maybe he said, oh, not me, Jesus, or, oh, but I'm so humble, I couldn't possibly have you in my house. We hear none of that. Luke doesn't bother with those details. We just know that Zacchaeus came down and Jesus came into his house. Zacchaeus was ready to welcome Jesus in. He didn't say, oh, come back tomorrow when I have a chance to have cleared up a bit or made you a nice meal. He welcomed Jesus into his house as soon as Jesus asked. The picture I've got here isn't just me showing off that we've been to Jericho. It is partly because I wondered whether this Christmas we could make sure that we've got a space for Jesus. You'll see I'm not very good at doing selfies of my food. Well, not selfies, but pictures of my food, at least not until I've eaten all I can manage. Then I push my plate away. But maybe you could, to remind yourself that you want to make a space for Jesus, you could lay an extra place at the table. Maybe you don't ever eat at a table and you just eat food on your laps. Make sure there's a chair spare for Jesus. And if your family say, who's that place for? You can say, I'm trying to welcome Jesus into every part of my life. That would be a wonderful Christmas for me. And I pray that God will bless you, whatever you're doing, as you prepare for Christmas Day, the day we remember Jesus' birth. God bless you.